James Conner is a running back for Pitt. Entering into his junior year in 2015, he had already rushed for almost 1,800 yards and 26 touchdowns. He figured his junior year would be the year, and he was one of the only backs to ever come out of Pitt to even be close to being considered with Tony Dorsett to possibly win the Heisman Trophy. In the season opener, in his second carry, the second quarter, James was hit. He got up and he felt a little pain in his knee. Lo and behold, come to find out he had an MCL tear. Didn't know that this surgery that he had to have now would change his life. The doctors noticed that he had a pretty bad cough when he was going through his rehab. So they ended up doing chest x-rays. Come to find out that he was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma. James Conner was diagnosed with cancer. Most young men his age would consider that as a death sentence, think that, oh, it's over. It's coming to an end, there's nothing else I can do. But that wasn't the case for him. And when you think about scripture, and I plug scripture here in Proverbs 16:9 says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but only the Lord's plans will prevail. Another version says, a man's heart plans his way, but the Lord determines his steps. See, James didn't know what was ahead of him. He didn't know what the Lord's plans were. But here's one thing that he did. He submitted his will. He submitted his plans to the Lord. And he just decided, God, whatever your will is, that's what it's going to be. So not only when he found out that he had cancer, not only did he allow the Lord to use him to be an inspiration to so many others, to help them continue to fight, to help them continue to press on despite the challenge, he also began his own journey of fighting back to get back on the field. After going through 12 treatments of chemotherapy over 6 months, what James would do every time he had chemotherapy, the little strength, the little bit of energy that he had left, he would join his team at practice. He would wear a mask over his face just to make sure that he didn't get any more sick than what he already was. And coming into 2016, the Lord blessed him. His cancer went into remission, and he found himself with the opportunity of getting back on the field with his team. James entered back on the field with his team this year, 2016. And out of 2 games, he's already rushed for over 170 yards, and he scored a touchdown in each game. So now that's a true example of not his plan, not his will, but God's plan, God's will. James had his own plan on what he wanted to do. His plan was to rush for over 2,000 yards his junior year, come out and enter the draft early. But God had a different plan. So now he is in 2016, still considered a junior, but he's back on the field, and his cancers went into remission. He was diagnosed with cancer, and he found out from getting an MCL tear. He didn't know what life was going to be up in front of him. He didn't know what was coming because all he saw in front of him was an uphill battle. This is a true example, a true sign of when you face with a challenge, when you face with something that seems like it's almost impossible, don't trust your will. Don't trust your plan. Allow your plan to be God's plan. Submit your plan to God and trust him and follow him through whatever it is that you do. Allow the Lord to use you to be a blessing, an inspiration to others. And not only that, allow his plan to be a part of everything that you do. And his plan will lead you to success. His plan will lead you to surpass anything you can ever think or imagine could ever happen in your life. Trust God. The Bible again says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but God's plan will prevail. Only his plan will supersede any others. His is the one that you can trust. You can be just like James Conner. He pressed through the opposition. He pressed through the challenges that he was facing. He never gave up. He never quit. He always had the will to win, no matter what. And God blessed him more than he can imagine, just because he trusted in him. And just because he didn't go with his own plan, but he went with God's plan. God bless you.